Hello there, I'm going to show you how to make this wall hanging. This design was from the Cricut. I didn't do this vinyl design, but I'm going to show you how to make this wall hanging. This is my Cricut homepage, and you will find me if you look for Cassie Cartmel. The project that we are making is called Sewing a Fun Wall Hanging. And it just gives you a description of everything that you're going to need for this particular project. So let's get into it. Okay, so once we have clicked on Make It, we're going to click on the mat and then Confirm. Once it opens up in the page, it will give you all of the items that we are going to be cutting for this particular wall hanging project. So 1 and 2 will be your circular wall hanging template, so that'll be done out of fabric. So let's start with this one first. So when we click continue, it will then connect to the Cricut Maker, and it will give us the options to change our base material. I am going to select fabric. If you don't have this setting already set in your Cricut Maker, you can browse all your materials using this button. Anything that's highlighted in the green will show that you have bookmarked it. Anything that's not highlighted means that you haven't highlighted it yet in the bookmarked template. So I have done that. And I am going to be selecting this one to cut the fabric. Then I am going to be selecting more pressure. And I already have the rotary blade selected. So now I can put my fabric in on the mat and cut both 1 and 2. Number 4 is also a fabric cut. It's the little tab that you're going to be using to hang your wall hanging up. So once again, cut this out of fabric, just jump ahead to number 4. Then once that is cut, you can jump ahead again to number 3 when you start cutting all of your vinyl. Okay, so the next steps are now cutting the vinyl. Number 3 is a vinyl cut, then 5, 6, 7 are all vinyl cuts. So number 4 was obviously that fabric cut. It puts it into color coded order. And with the sew on, it's important that you mirror. So if we click on edit here, we can mirror. So make sure that all of your sections are mirrored. And then done. And then we want to change our base material. And I'm just going to change it to this everyday iron on. I'm going to apply more pressure. And then I will need to change my blade over from my rotary cutter now to this finer point blade. So do that for every single one. I'm not going to walk you through the same step another 4 times. But always make sure the mirror is on and then you've changed your blade over. So start cutting the vinyl. I highly recommend that you use pre-purchased double folded extra wide bias because this is a circle. It needs to be cut on the bias for it to go on successfully. And also a D-ring. These are 3/4 of an inch wide. First of all, let's start making the wall hanging section. So take your 2 circles. I'm going to use some flex foam. You can use by Annie's. You could use some quilting cotton, but I don't think it'll be very stable. This stuff is like foam, and I think it's going to make a really good wall hanging. I'm not paid nor sponsored at any point in this tutorial, so I am going to cut this out. So I'm going to use one of my circles as a template. What I really like about this foam is both sides are fusible. So I'm going to fuse this into place. I'm going to create my wall hanging tab. I'm also going to use a D-ring. So I'm just going to create the regular fold over. So you fold it in the middle, you fold it in on itself, and then you fold it all in at the middle, like so. I'm going to then sew these two sections into place, then fold it over. I'm going to put my D-ring into place. And then sew this down here, and then that'll stop the D-ring from moving about. To make sure that this all stays in place, I'm going to stitch some quilting lines down probably about 2 inches apart. You will adhere the vinyl in exactly the same order that you cut the vinyl, and Cricut recommends that you half the time of whatever the recommended setting is on the Cricut's page. So generally it will say 30 seconds for the iron-on vinyl, but because we're layering and we are adding heat over time with all these different layers, they recommend you half it, so it'll be for 15 seconds. When it does come to the heat guide settings, if you go onto your actual home page, there is a link here that takes you to the heat guide settings. So click on that link. Once you click on that link, you will be brought to a page like this, and obviously these settings are just for the Cricut presses. So this is the one that I have been using on my YouTube right now. So I would click Easy Press, and then you can go to this drop down and it gives you every single material that Cricut does. So let's, for instance, take the Everyday Iron On, which is this one. And then the base material would be 100% cotton. I have the pressing mat and I apply. Then it gives me all of the instructions to deal with putting vinyl onto cotton. And this one is 315 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds. And it tells you to firm pressure, it tells you to preheat it, it tells you to remove the liner when it's cooled down, gives you all the instructions on how to use all the different materials. You do have to wait for this to completely cool down before you can take it away. It's going to be easier once it's cooled down. Then do your second part. I'm going to put a Teflon sheet down, and then I am going to put the press on top, and once again 15 seconds. Put the next section on. I'm going to put the Teflon back over and then press it once again. And the next one goes on top of that. I recommend that you use the double fold bias binding that you buy from the store. And you're going to leave a little bit of excess at the start, open it fully up, and you're going to attach it all the way around your wall hanging. You're going to trim down one of the overlapping sections. Then you're going to fold it over. And you're going to clip that in place. Where the other part overlaps, fold that over and clip that into place. Then you're going to sew all the way around, following this line here. And then you're going to get your binding and you're going to flip it all back so that center fold becomes the center part of your wall hanging. If your wall hanging is curving in, don't worry about it, because we can press that down. And then just top stitch all this down. Now find out where the center of your wall hanging is. You can just fold this in half to find the center. And it's about there. And we can just attach that into place. And I would just recommend stitching over these stitches that we just did for the binding. That is the wool hanging complete. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and comment, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.